Hey, everybody, welcome. Welcome back to this live feed that we are going to be doing tonight. And basically, what I would like to do, I know many of you were not able to make it to our severe weather seminar back here a couple weeks ago. It was fantastic. We had like 200 people cramming into the Benson Center. We had all of our storm chasers from around the area. They came showing off their vehicles. Such a great time. So I wanted to make sure that everybody has access to some of the information that we went over. So I thought, before severe weather season really starts to wrap up, let's go ahead to help you better prepare as we go forward when we can expect severe weather over the next few months. And, are we in for a wild ride? So we've got a few discussion points that we are going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about the ag industry out there, what we can expect here in West Central Missouri, and of course, what it takes to make severe weather here in West Central Missouri. So we have a few key points we're going to talk about tonight, and are we expecting a wild, severe weather season here in West Central Missouri? We did have an early start to severe weather. March has been a big month for severe weather nationwide. So typically we start seeing right around the second week of April. So we are getting an early start on this year. We can expect an extended severe weather season this year, and we'll go into more on that here in just a minute. April and June look to be the most active periods here in West Central Missouri for severe weather. Now, that's a little bit unusual for our area, as May is typically severe storm peak for us here in West Central Missouri. But the way that the LRC is shaping up, and our cycles have shaped up, it looks like that we are going to be looking at potential of severe weather into the month of June, with a couple, three storm systems poised to come through our area during that time frame. And then, of course, heat and lack of moisture is expected for July and August. And again, we love these record high temperatures here in March. Just like Saturday, Clinton, we received our record high temperature at about 5 o'clock on Saturday night. It reached 93 degrees here in Henry County, breaking the previous record of 92 degrees. And of course, we've seen record highs all across the area, and that's great for this time of year. But again, the LRC has proven that this cycle is going to repeat itself back into June, July, and August as well. Just like we've had those beautiful winter days, 70 degrees back in February, and again back in December. All of that is going to cycle back around as we go into the summer months. So definitely something we need to be keeping a very close eye on from an ag standpoint. I know I've talked to a lot of farmers and ranchers, and we had talked about they haven't had to use too much hay over the winter because we've had such a mild winter. Now, it could have very easily gone the other way. As we discussed back at our winter forecast back in December, that West Central Missouri and basically the state of Missouri was going to be in those battlegrounds between the warm and the cold air masses. Now, so far, we have fell mostly on that warm side, but 100 miles to the south, and we could have had a whole different winter. But this battleground is not going to change. We're going to continue to be that battleground all the way throughout the spring and summer. And of course, if we continue to see ourselves on the warm side of this battleground, we could have a fairly active severe weather season. Of course, we've already seen that here in March with an early start of severe weather season. So, hi, Christina. Want to say hi to everybody. Hi, Amanda. So appreciate you guys joining me. We actually have quite a few people here on our live streams tonight, so that was good. I want to make sure again that we get some good information out to everybody as we are entering into severe weather season. I know West Central Missouri, Southwest Missouri, we've had our share of severe weather here over the last couple years, and since I've been on to emergency management for Henry County, the last 2 years have been very active for our office. So, again, we're going to be touching on how you can stay safe through severe weather season as well here in just a little bit. But I've had a lot of people reach out to me here over the last couple weeks, and especially since we've had these temperatures in the 80s and the 90s. And, of course, we had a dry cold front move through today. I don't know if anybody was out and about 1 o'clock this afternoon. But man, those winds on a dime, they switched out coming out from the north. Temperature dropped about 15, 20 degrees, and it's only going to hang out with us for about a day. Tomorrow's high, we're going to struggle to get up to the 50s, and then we're going to warm right back up into the 80s for Tuesday, or really Wednesday and Thursday. And then we have another cold front that's going to cool us back down to the 60s for the weekend, and maybe some rain chances. I'm not expecting any severe weather with this cold front coming through on Thursday night, but we could see a few rumbles of thunder, maybe some rainfall. So I'm doing great tonight. Hi, Travis. So, again, one of the biggest questions I've had here over the last couple of weeks because of these warm temperatures has been, are we done with winter now? Are we safe to plant our flowers? Are we safe to go out and plant in the fields? And really, the short answer to this is probably not. What you're looking at, we're utilizing the LRC Weather 2020 dashboard. This is something, this is information and software that is paid by you guys. With all your donations, we are also a corporate sponsor for 2026 of Weather 2020 and the LRC. Again, thanks to your all generosity during the fundraiser. I got a lot of stuff out. If you're a winner, I got a lot of stuff out here at the end of last week. So you guys should be receiving them in the mail. But, and again, this is such a useful tool as a forecaster. So what we are looking at are the low temperature forecast for our counties here in West Central Missouri. Now, this has been tweaked just a little bit, but this has stayed consistent since back last December. And so far, the accuracy rate on storm systems have been over 90% since October 6th. So the LRC is such a useful tool for long-range forecasting. And if you notice right in this area right here, that red line that's drawn across there, that is the 32-degree line. Now, according to the LRC, right around we are in the month of April, right around the 9th, 10th, 11th, and really through around the 17th, we have that potential to see below freezing temperatures as low temperatures. So, matter of fact, it shows all the way down into the 20s for the 9th, 10th, and 11th of April. So that fits perfectly with the LRC cycle. We are in cycle number 3 of the LRC. And, of course, it's a very long cycle this year. Over 75 to 78 days is our cycle length, the longest the LRC has ever been. And, of course, it is hinting at a cool down here, again, from the 9th to around the 17th of April. And then I really think taking a look at all of the upper air patterns that I'm seeing right now, we have a warming of the Pacific Ocean that could lead us to a El Nino, maybe even a strong El Nino for next winter. And of course, we have not seen an El Nino winter in quite some time. And that actually brings more moisture and chances of storm systems here in west central Missouri. So I'm keeping a very close eye on that because that could have huge influences on our weather pattern as that Pacific Ocean continues to warm up at a near record pace. And when we're talking, it's not warming up by 5, 10 degrees. It might be warming up a quarter or a half a degree. And that's all it takes, believe it or not, to affect our weather patterns here in the Midwest. So keeping a very close eye on that. And hopefully that will also, maybe toward the tail end of summer, add a few more storm systems to get us more moisture. Right now, it is not showing hardly any moisture for us here in August. So we're hoping that with an El Nino, which is still a small influence of that big atmospheric puzzle. If you guys remember, the LRC is the biggest piece of the puzzle, and there's several little influences that will affect the weather patterns, such as El Nino, La Nina, as well as the Arctic oscillation, the North American oscillation. There's small influences out there, but the LRC is definitely the biggest piece of the puzzle. So if anybody is going to be wanting to get out and do some planting, a key date with that would be the middle of April. If you don't want to sacrifice any sensitive vegetation, and again, I do believe we're going to see some very strong freezing possibilities, especially again right around the 9th through the 13th. And in that week period, and that's when we're going to have a strong storm system coming in from the northwest. That's going to be bringing in some much colder temperatures. But then after that, I think we're smooth sailing for the rest of spring into May, into the first of June. So that's for those. That should answer questions a lot of you have asked about planning. And when our last cold temperatures that we can expect. So hopefully that helps in your planning process. Now, taking a look at the late spring into the summer months, let's take a look at the snapshot of our west central Missouri from, say, like around June 1st through September 1st with the dashboard. And we're going to start off here first with the precipitation by weeks on average. So as you can see, when here, this black line that goes across the screen here, that's 100% of average precipitation based on 30 years. Now notice we have several weeks that are extremely below average in precipitation. We do have looks like probably a storm system coming in right around the 8th of June, the 22nd of June, and looks like right around the second week of July we will have a big storm system. Now these are going to be key dates because if you notice, that bar goes way down for most of June into July, into August, well below average precipitation. So again, we are hoping maybe motioning over to an El Nino might help bring a few more storm systems into west central Missouri. Now let's go back and let's take a look at total precipitation on average here in our area. Let's see here. That is not cooperating with me. So what we are going to do is take a look at, this is the Global Predictor. Now this is an app that takes all of this dashboard information, all of the the small pieces of data, and makes it into a very easy to read app for your phone. I think it costs somewhere around $5 a month. It's great if you're a planner. It's fantastic if you have a wedding coming up in June or July. Anybody for the ag community, you want to know when your wet and dry weeks are going to be. The global predictor can make it very, very simple for you. So remember, we're talking about April having that cool down, and we are here in Clinton here on the map, and I'll kind of zoom in just a little bit. So notice how we're really below average temperatures for highs from around the 9th through around the 18th, according to the global predictor. So we took the information, all that data, and all the graphs and all the numerical data, and Weather 2020 has moved that over to an easy-to-use app that you yourself can look at over the next 6 months, which is an incredible, useful tool, and it's very, very economical. As far as rainfall potential, we can also take a look at when we can expect to see some rainfall. And notice April is very wet. We've seen several of those storm systems lining up right around that first week of April, the 9th through the 12th, along that cold front that'll be coming in. And then at the end of April, we also have another storm system. But you can utilize this global predictor no matter where you live. You can use it if you're going on a trip to Daytona Beach, Florida. You can take a look at Daytona Beach, Florida for the next 6 months and plan your trip accordingly. And of course, in April, they're looking, the entire month in Daytona looks like it's below average temperatures for Daytona Beach, Florida. So, utilizing the LRC and utilizing the cycles and when these storm systems, that's what the LRC does. It actually can predict when these storm systems are going to be coming across. Now, those small influences, how warm it's going to be, how cold it's going to be, those are the little influences that affect our weather here in west central Missouri, whereas the LRC is the biggest piece. It's going to let us know when these storm systems are going to be here, and then we analyze those small pieces of the puzzle, and we can come up with a fairly good idea, over 90% accurate, of when we can expect storm systems to affect west central Missouri. So when we talk about severe weather, we need to know what it takes for severe weather to even occur. And that is when I'm going to go over here to our part of our slideshow that we talked about at the severe weather seminar. Now, in order for me and LRC to be able to forecast severe weather for our area, we have to know what makes severe weather. And you need 4 ingredients. You need moisture, instability, a lifting mechanism to lift air up above to condense into thunderheads, and wind shear, which is very, very important for severe weather. And with us sitting where we are geographically here in the central part of the United States, we get that moisture from Gulf of Mexico. We are smack dab in the middle of basically the entire climate of the United States. And that's what makes forecasting Kansas City and the state of Missouri the toughest area to be able to forecast, because we are surrounded by influences that make forecasting very, very difficult. But those are the 4 ingredients that are needed for severe weather to happen here in west central Missouri. And of course, moisture, the dew point typically needs to be 55 degrees or greater. And the dew point is basically the temperature that if we instantly cooled it down to, we would have 100% humidity. The air would be saturated. So it's a measurement of how much moisture is in the air. Now, of course, we get all that moisture, what I just mentioned, from southerly winds that push up from the Gulf of Mexico into the central part of the United States. You have to have instability. Now, if you can imagine just a small parcel of air, and if it's warmer than the air around it, it's going to rise like a helium balloon. Now, if it gets to a level where the air around it is just as warm or warmer than itself, it can't go up any further. And that's called a cap. You guys hear me talk about the cap several occasions. But so you have to have that instability, the cooler air aloft, so that that parcel of air can continue to rise, form a cloud due to condensation, and you get explosive thunderstorm formation there in that area. You have to have a lifting mechanism. You have to have something to lift that parcel of air. And of course, examples, a cold front, a warm front, an outflow boundary from rain-cooled air from a thunderstorm, and then of course upslopes such as the mountain ranges. And that's one of the reasons why you have beautiful weather on one side of a mountain, and you got rain, dreary, foggy on the other side of the mountain. And you have to have a lifting mechanism, and this is a great explanation of how that happens. We have warm, moist air here at the surface, and you got a cold front that's sinking air. That colder air sinks, and it forces that warm air to rise. That is a great example of a lifting mechanism. And wind shear, probably one of the most important ingredients that you have to have for severe weather here in our area. Remember me talking to you about, we are on that battleground between the warm air mass and the cold air mass. And being in that battleground, we have southerly winds, and we have colder Canadian air, Pacific Northwest air to the north of us. Where they meet, where that battleground is, you have two different directions of wind, from the northwest and from the southeast wind. And whenever you have two different direction winds, you can get rotation. Now, there's also, that is what's called directional wind shear. Now, there is also another kind of wind shear that is actually called speed shear. And basically what that is up above our heads at, say, 18,000 feet. If we have really fast winds, say 75, 100 mile an hour going on way above our heads, and very slow, say 20 mile per hour at the surface, that difference in speed can actually create shear and rotation. And you have to have one or the other in order for thunderstorms to continue to grow. Now, if you don't have that, those thunderstorms will collapse upon themselves. So you need that tilt of that big thunderhead. You need a tilt. And a great example of that is going to be a garden hose. Now, if you have a garden hose and you turn it on and it's pointing straight up, you notice that water is going to go straight up and it's going to collapse on itself, and it doesn't allow for it to grow. It will collapse upon itself. Now, if you add shear to that picture, now look what's happening. Now you have wind blowing from left to right. It gives that shear, whereas that stream of water coming out of the hose can continue to build up. And, of course, that wind shear will push that stream to the right, and that is what we call the downdraft of a thunderstorm. That's the reason why that's the heavier rain. That's where the hail comes from, and it's right in front of that thunderstorm as that wind shear pushes that rain and the hail, and it tilts that entire thunderstorm. and that thunderstorm can continue to thrive for hours. And that is definitely an ingredient that has to happen for these strong, severe thunderstorms that happen here in west central Missouri. Now, there's several different radar software and apps we talked about at the seminar. Weather-wise, you can grab that right from subbiesweathertalk.com. You can go to our website, and the WeatherWise radar software is right there on our website. Fantastic tool. The warning apps. So we have Storm Shield, we have Weather Call. You have your own county mass communication signups for free. And of course, my big thing is weather radio. And I feel like a weather radio is just as important as a smoke detector in every house. It's going to wake you up if there's any threatening weather in and around your neck of the woods. So, a weather radio, very, very important. So, this is the weather call. Now, we worked on this for 4, 5, 6 months last year to get this up and going. It does cost $15 a year. That's a little bit over $1 a month. And there's a QR code right down on the corner that you can open up your phone and you can scan that QR code. Basically, what you're going to do, you're going to get notified of any hazards, the watches, warnings, advisories around your area, exactly where you're at. If it follows you, if you go down, say, to Branson for the weekend, you hit a button on the app that says follow me, and it's going to put a dome around you and notify you if, say, Branson gets under a severe thunderstorm warning. You're going to get notified on your phone. It's such a great tool. And for extreme situations such as a tornado warning, or say 80-mile-per-hour winds is expected, or you're camping and there's a flood emergency, you're going to get a phone call on your cell phone. And it's going to be me, and you're going to hear me tell you what danger you are in and what's going on and how you can stay safe. And this is 24/7, 365 coverage where you're at. I wish we could offer that for free, but it's a little over $1 a month. That is a great way to stay safe during severe weather season. Of course, Subby's Weather Talk. If you haven't checked out our website, again, this is also all the hosting, all the software is paid by all the generosity of members of Subby's Weather Talk Facebook group. So utilize it. It's a one-stop shop for everything you guys might need. So that's subbiesweathertalk.com. And of course, you can go to your local emergency management Facebook page, such as Henry County Office of Emergency Management. I know our county, as well as Pettis County, we use the software that the minute the National Weather Service issues a warning, watch, or advisory, it instantly pops up on that Facebook page. So, you know, this is what we have. It provides an incredible service for Henry County residents. I know Pettis County uses it as well. Bates County uses a similar program. So on all the social media platforms, it will pop up and notify you whenever there is inclement weather around your area. This is an example of what it will show up on our Henry County Emergency Management page. It says wind advisory in effect Tuesday for Henry County, and it gives you an entire description. If you want to read more, you can click that link, and it gives you the full printout of exactly what that watch, warning, or advisory may be. And remember, tornado sirens, guys, again, we go through this every year. Tornado sirens are for people outside. They are not meant to wake you up in the middle of the night. And again, that's a big, big reason why I push weather radios as much as I can, because they are a life-saving device, just like a smoke detector. That is what is supposed to wake you up in the middle of the night, not tornado sirens. So remember, they are for people who are outdoors, maybe driving from point A to point B, so that they are notified that there is a tornado, either radar indicated or on the ground doing damage. excuse me, and above all, have a means to be able to get that weather information from several sources. Okay, not just have a weather radio, but have an app on your phone. Of course, outdoor sirens are going to help you if you are outside during that time. Your friends, your family, your coworkers. Guys, we need to be prepared. And if we stay prepared and we have a plan, then our anxiety level, our fear of storms, all of that is going to be minimized. And we have to do that by having multiple means to be able to get your warnings. Now, let's talk about West Central Missouri severe risk windows here over the next few months. And again, this was done utilizing the LRC as well as all the information from our dashboard from Weather 2020, and we come up with these windows, and so far they have been spot on. So this was our last severe weather window that we got through here a week ago. It was spot on. Now the next window that we need to watch is going to be April 28th through May 7th. Now you notice there's a couple different colors of those circles. You have an enhanced potential and you have a significant potential. Okay, so with significant potential, meaning that there's over a 70% chance that there's going to be severe weather in that dark shaded area. And of course, all of West Central Missouri is under that level 3 significant potential during the week of the April 28th through May 7th. So definitely want to either jot down, screenshot something, this particular slide, so that you can be prepared on what would be coming in. And this is toward the end of April, the 28th through the 7th. Now, this does not mean we're not going to get some thunderstorms or some rain, but these are the big storm systems that have come through since October 6th that does have that potential for all modes of severe weather, and they were powerhouse storm systems. Those are the ones we really need to watch for severe weather outbreaks. So again, April 28th through May 7th. Another level 3 significant potential, May 22nd through June 3rd. And again, this is a level 3 significant, over 70% chance, 70% confidence right now that we're going to be seeing some severe weather in West Central Missouri during these dates. And again, that's May 22nd through June 3rd. Severe weather risk window, June 5th through the 18th. And remember, June, I believe, is shaping up to have that extended severe window into the month of June. So once we hit June, don't think that our severe weather chances are going down. They're actually still elevated in June. June 5th through 18th, again, another significant potential to see severe weather here in West Central Missouri. So those are the dates. Let's go back. And again, April 28th through May 7th, May 22nd through June 3rd, June 5th through the 18th are going to be the key dates for severe weather here in West Central Missouri. And again, we could see severe weather in between there. But what we're trying to do on the most likely times to see severe weather that we need to plan for are those key dates. So hopefully you guys will jot those down on your calendar in case you're going camping. Or, this allowed you to be better prepared for severe weather as we head into severe weather season. Now what we are going to do, we are going to go back. Let me check out chat here. I haven't looked at chat here for a little bit. Planner is running. They're saying excellent, excellent, and I know that has been a plan for several of you to get the planning done early. And again, if we drop down into the into the middle 20s for a night or two, that corn, those beans, they're not going to be emerged yet. So, I think, because it's such a short window of a week, I don't think it's going to affect crops being planted early. But I think everybody is wanting to get things in the ground so before some dry and heat sets in July and August. What's the chances for Cincinnati for all the threats? There is a mesoscale discussion in effect. Well, we're not really doing tonight's weather, so to speak. This is kind of a look ahead at severe weather for our neck of the woods as we go into the springtime. Hi, TJ. What's the dates again? Sure. Let me jump back over here real quick. And actually, what I can do is let's just jump over to So we had, this was the March 7th or 8th through the 17th. We're past that right now. Now for Southwest Missouri, March 20th through April 2nd. If you're down, you have a level 2 out of 3. March 20th through April 2nd. That's mainly going to be for Southwest Missouri. We do have an elevated potential. Now what I'm showing you, the entire severe weather dashboard is what we're looking at right now. And so April 9th through the 16th, that severe risk actually goes down in the southeast, down in Dixieville. April 17th through the 23rd, we do have an elevated potential here in west central Missouri. But the level 2 enhanced potential seems to be down in southwest Missouri, southeast Kansas, northeast Oklahoma. And then one of our first big severe risk comes in April 27th through May 7th. And that's a level 3 significant potential, 70% confidence that we are going to see an outbreak of severe weather here in west central, southwest Missouri. Really, the southern half of Missouri is under that level 3. May 22nd through June 3rd, again, another level 3, significant potential, 70% confidence. West central Missouri will be in that window. That's May 22nd through June 3rd. And again, June 5th through the 18th, we are in that level 3 significant potential to see some severe weather in our neck of the woods. And then, during summertime, as that jet stream continues to move to the north, okay, we get the heat build up from the south, the jet stream retreats back up to the north, and that's typically when we start to see the severe risk begin to go up for those in Minnesota, to the Dakotas. That's when they start their severe weather season, is typically the end of June into July. But yeah, those are our key dates here in west central Missouri for severe weather. And what I would like to do now is take a look here. This is the daily. Let's change the dates up here just a little bit. We are going to go from April 1st through, let's go August 31st. And let's go ahead and move this for weekly. And let's take a look at the precipitation forecast based on average by the week over the last 30 years. So again, in April, that first week of April, the last week of April, as you can see, this black line, that is 100% of average over the last 30 years. So when we see, right here at the end of April, remember that is one of those times we need to be aware and prepared. We could see some severe weather, a big storm system coming in. And notice it's predicting up to 200% of average in rainfall in that last week of April. And then in May, we're going to be targeting really about the third week of May is really going to be our only minor system that's going to be coming through in the month of May here in west central Missouri that's going to produce some precipitation. And then we go into June, and notice we do have a couple of stronger storm systems, one coming in the first week of June, and again toward the last week of June, we are supposed to have another 200% of average. And then we have a big storm system coming in. This is going to be the same one that produced our only snowstorm that we received back in January. And then it also is the same storm system that brought us severe weather in here this month. And that is cycling back around right around the 13th of July. So this here is projecting almost up to, 367% of average. Now keep in mind, July, our average precipitation for each week is less than a quarter inch of rain. But when you're talking almost 400% of average, that's going to be a significant storm system that'll be coming through in July. And then right now it is actually looking like we will have a couple storm systems right around the first couple days of August, and then it shuts down for the rest of August. So again, as we go into those critical months of July and August, we are looking rather dry. Right now, percent of average, let's take a look at our high temperatures. And again, some of the data is suggesting almost triple-digit heat at the end of June. And again, in the middle of July through August, we could be looking at triple-digit heat. And, of course, couple that with below average precipitation. And you can see where we're going with that. We are hoping that we continue the trend of El Nino here over the next couple months, and we enter that El Nino, that warming of the Pacific Ocean. And what that is going to do is going to allow more storm systems to track down further into the Midwest and hopefully give us a little relief in the heat and maybe provide a couple more focus for precipitation. I know, TJ. It's I can tell with the TJ had mentioned. Well, maybe we'll get a significant rain. Don't have to worry about drought and brown field. But again, unfortunately, the way we are set up with this cycle, I know Gary Lezak had talked about a heat dome from the end of June through the end of August. I'm sorry, from the end of July through the entire month of August, having a major heat wave here in west central Missouri and here into the Midwest. So the only thing that can save us right now is if we go into that strong El Nino pattern, to be able to change up that jet stream a little bit to put us in a little bit more favorable position for a relief. But as this stands right now, we're gonna have a very hot and dry summer unless something changes right now. Oh, you saw Gary's forecast. Great, great. So again, I do believe, and actually let's just go through here. I tell you what I might end up with, and I am watching chat here. I do want to do this for you guys. Give me just a second here, and let's go over here to go back over to the to our severe weather seminar that we held. And what I would like to do, I think you guys can get a little bit of insight, maybe a little bit better explanation, maybe. What I am going to do, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys watch Gary's video here. So let's go ahead, and I do believe my desktop audio is on. And let's just watch it. It's very short. It's about 8-9 minutes long. Hopefully everybody's got the dates down, and then if we need to relook at that after Gary gets done talking, we'll go back. I'll be more than happy to bring that back up to you guys. Let's listen to what Gary has. This again was shown at our severe weather seminar back on March 9th.
I'm Meteorologist Gary Lezak with Weather 2020 Subby. Thank you for inviting me. Maybe next year I can be there in person. There's a lot going on. Oh my goodness, this weather pattern. There's a river there above us that is cycling regularly, and we have cracked the...
Whoop. Sorry, guys. Let's try that again. I hit the wrong button.
I'm Meteorologist Gary Lezak with Weather 2020 Subby. Thank you for inviting me. Maybe next year I can be there in person. There's a lot going on. Oh my goodness, this weather pattern. There's a river there above us that is cycling regularly, and we have cracked the code. The pattern cycles, and we are able to make prediction weeks to months in advance accurately. That will help you in your weather-sensitive business, on your farm, corn, soybeans, whatever you're wondering about weather-wise. The tool that I'm going to share with you in just a few minutes, the LRC model, is available. And I'll try to do a live demo. Let's get started and show you what's going on. We'll go right here from the beginning. As you can see, a Weather 2020 vision into the new year. This year has been a fascinating first couple months, and we have cracked the code, as I said, of this crazy weather pattern. And it's called the LRC. It was named by the bloggers. I'm sure Subby can tell you all about that back in 2002, 2003. In the last 20 years, we've been bringing this to the world. And the LRC is the centerpiece of the big atmospheric puzzle. It is a jigsaw. You've heard of El Nino, La Nina. That's called the El Nino Southern Oscillation Index. La Nina is the cooling of the tropical Pacific Ocean. El Nino is the warming of the tropical waters. All right, we are literally in a transition right now from La Nina to what next winter may actually be an El Nino. There's the MJO, the AO, the NAO. The AO is the Arctic Oscillation, another one of the fringe pieces. Look at this over here. You see this arrow? The AO dipped in late January, and that led to the Arctic blast that has been relentless and has not let up in the eastern part of the country. It goes in and out. But look, 11 weeks earlier, a similar dip. Not quite as deep, so we didn't get the Arctic blast, but very close. The pattern is cycling even at looking at these indexes. One of the key elements of what I've been discussing for 20 to 30 to 40 years now is that these anchor troughs and ridges form. And this year we have a problem in the Rockies. Colorado has been at record pace for the lowest snowpack ever from October through February. It was the lowest snowpack ever. Denver setting all kinds of warm winter records. Why? This anchor ridge. Storm systems will make it into the west. Some of them may even be strong in the Rockies. We have a couple right now coming in. But overall, they usually weaken. They're not as frequent. And this could be a problem. I'll show you what it may lead to in a minute. Then, as they go east towards Kansas and Missouri, the storm systems try to start intensifying, and then they become very impactful in this anchor trough where storm systems are more frequent and stronger. This ridge, though, is a problem for the summer. In fact, because of it, we are predicting a major heat wave late July and early August. Now, will it be hot and dry before this time frame? Because if it is, this will really be impacting. If it's wet earlier in the season, maybe it won't be as impacting. But just know this is our forecast for a potential major heat wave. I'm about 75% confident it will happen around the first week of August. Yes, that's the hottest time of the year, but I'm not saying it's going to be near 92, 95. I'm saying it could be 102, 105, and even hotter than that over Texas. So this is something of a concern. We're in this part of the pattern right now at this moment. We're going from phase 2 into phase 1 amplification. This is what we predicted during the winter with showers, thunderstorms in the southwest, either severe weather or possible ice and snow. That's been happening in the last week or two. So we'll see what happens this spring. This could be a week or 2 week wet period, all right? And it's already happened twice this winter season. We'll see about what happens for the spring. Planting, growing, and harvest forecasts, all right? If you knew, what would you do? As we go from winter into spring, knowing when to pay attention. Identifying multi-week dry spells or high-risk wet periods is what our model is able to do. Protecting planting and harvest windows. Anticipating peak severe weather periods. 90% accurate in predicting severe weather in the last 4 years. And reduce last-minute surprises. That's what we do. We are very rarely ever surprised when something's happening because we predicted it. So very interesting. So the model, this is the LRC model, and I'm going to do a live demo in a second. This is the forecast from January to June that we have had out for this entire time. And notice a little cooler through the Great Lakes area, near average to cooler than average, and everyone else warmer than average weather expected this spring. Rainfall-wise, North Dakota looks like it'll do good on moisture. Iowa could be a struggle. Missouri, Kansas could be a struggle. Let's go take a look at specifically at Missouri. Missouri, notice how it shows below average. There's 60% to 90% of average rainfall expected from April to June. You can see here, there is the precipitation forecast for the 3 months ahead of us. So could it be just enough moisture, or could there be problems? Now this area is getting hit right now with lots of rain. So we'll see if it dries out again, which I expect it to. So let's do a live look at our model, all right? If you want this, somebody will tell you how to get it. Go to weather2020.com. But what we do is let's just put in Missouri. Well, let's say you want to know Brazil or Argentina. If you get the world version, you just put in Brazil. Let me put it in real quick. And Brazil, click, and then you can put the date range. Let's go from April 1st, just put a date in. You can do it yourself, to August 31st. Okay, apply, and apply. Here it comes, the forecast for Brazil. Watch this. All right, it's coming up, it's calculating. I said I was going to do it live. We'll see what happens here. Come on. Oh, there it goes. Thank goodness. Here's Brazil's forecast. You can zoom in to Brazil. And wherever you zoom in Brazil, the Amazon rainforest or whatever, you'll see they're expecting that's 160% of average rainfall in this region. 230, double rainfall. And then you go to Sao Paulo, and it's only 130%. So, but look, most of Brazil expecting to be above average. It tells you how much rain is going to be, high temperatures, low temperatures, etc. So let's get back to the United States and go and do Missouri again. Okay, United States, hold on. United States. Here we go. And then you just put in Missouri. You click on Missouri. Boom, like that. And here's Missouri for the next few months ahead, all the way through August. This shows you which weeks will be wet. Everything above this 100% line is a wet week. Second week of April, a wet week. Most likely drier weeks, and then a wet week at the end of April. Then a couple of dry weeks to start May. May could be a struggle. This is when we're going to watch for possible drying out. In May, yes, let's hope not. But you can see our model is predicting drier, and then a wet week in the second week of June and the first week of summer. So here's all the way through August in Missouri. See this? And then you hover over your county, and if you want to put in your county, you can. So we're going to put in like, how about Henry County? You put in Henry County, and let's do also Cass County. Henry and Cass County. Just a couple counties to pick. We can pick any county, and you push apply, and it literally will show those counties down to your county, a tool I think every one of you should have. And you can see here it shows 18.9 inches of rain between now and August in Cass County, and in Henry County 16.8 inches, and that is 80% and about 80% of average rainfall. And you come up here on these other tabs, snow and precipitation, temperature insights, year-over-year comparison, and you get your degree days. You get your heating degree days, cooling degree days, and growing degree days. So they're all in here. As you can see here, we go to the long-range overview. I think it's down here at the bottom here. Here is growing degree days. Shows you how many you'll have during that entire period. So pretty interesting. So there you go. That's just a demo of our model. Somebody can tell you how to get that. I highly recommend it. And so we will work on a deal if you want a deal. All right, so thank you, everyone. Very interesting weather pattern evolving this week, next few weeks. I'm meteorologist Gary Lezak, and of course, let me know if there's any questions, and Jim can send them to me, and I will let you know what my answers are. All right, there you go. I better stop this recording. Have a good day. Have a good discussion.
All right, so that was Gary. I want to make sure that those of you that was not at our severe weather seminar, that you guys got some of that information that that Gary had thrown out there at our weather seminar. And again, we're going to go through those dates one more time. Of course, March 8th through 17th, that was our severe weather we had here about a week and a half ago. April 28th through May 7th. And again, I'm going to throw these dates out there. Does not mean we're not going to have any severe weather outside of these windows, but these are the big storm systems that produce some major complications in winter and so far this spring. So April 28th through May 7th, level 3, significant potential. May 22nd through June 3rd. June 5th through the 18th. So hopefully you guys got something out of this. And again, I felt bad that, a lot of you weren't able to make it to the severe weather seminar. And again, the reason why we do this is so that you guys can plan and you can prepare. And if you do those two things, your anxiety level, your fear of storms go down drastically. And, knowing that if there's any severe weather here in our area, you guys know I go live and we watch those storms together as they come through. We try to get warnings out to you guys as fast as we can. I have direct communication with forecasters and meteorologists from the National Weather Service out of Pleasant Hill and Springfield. I'm constantly monitoring. They're sending me messages. I'm sending them messages whenever we go live during severe weather. And again, I can't really focus enough on having multiple ways to get this information. So Weather Call, we talked about that. That is a fantastic tool for you guys to be able to use. And again, we'll go back to WeatherWise here real quick, or Weather Call. And again, you can take a look at that. Open up your phone, go to your camera. You can take a picture of that QR code, take you right to where you can order Weather Call. And again, during extreme emergency tornadoes, 80-mile-an-hour winds, flooding emergency, you're going to get a phone call in the middle of the night or whatever time of day it is, and you're going to hear me on the other end. I'm going to be telling you what is going on and how to protect yourself. So great service. I wish it could be free. It's only a little over $1 a month. Well worth it. It follows you. Take it on vacation with you. It's going to put a dome around you while you're on vacation, making sure that you are protected and informed of any severe weather in your area. And again, subbiesweathertalk.com, guys. I'm very proud of the website. There's so much information on here, from power outages. If you want one of the best radar apps out there, you can get it right there on our website for free. You click on it, it's going to take you right to WeatherWise, and you will have all the bells and whistles there at your fingertips. Exactly the same radar software I use during the live stream. You can get it for free right there on our website, subbiesweathertalk.com. If you want to listen to the weather radio, and say you're away from home, but you don't take your weather radio with you, you can do it right here off our webpage. So you can go up here to live weather radio. It's going to take you to a page. You go down to Missouri and Kansas City, and you click listen.
Miles per hour from the north, which occurred at 12:30 p.m. Today, the average wind speed was 18 miles per hour.
You have live weather radar right there from our website. And of course, you can get to all of our social media links also. So definitely check out our website. There are tons of information. If you want to, if you're kind of a weather nerd like myself, you can scroll down and you will have all the latest information from the Storm Prediction Center updated every 1 minute. So if you want to click on one of these, and it's going to explain to you exactly what is going on in that area. So that's right at your fingertips. And of course, you can go there also. Here is the link that will take you right to Weather Call if you want to get that great service that we offer to keep you notified of severe warnings. Hi, Melissa. So, as far as predicting the exact temperature, as far as predicting the exact amount of rainfall, going out through June, what Gary Lezak had done for the last 40 years is we find out there's a cycling pattern. It sets up every year around October 6th during the solstice. And every year is unique. There's a certain amount of days in between the cycles. Last year, utilizing the LRC, we predicted each window when severe storms was going to happen over 90% accurate. Now, if we were 100%, any meteorologist out there that can predict the weather 100% of the time, they're going to have a U-Haul full of gold. That Mother Nature is always going to throw curveballs. But for planning purposes, having something such as the global predictor to be able to know whether or not you can go anywhere around the world, and you can go 6 months in advance, and you can see where those storm systems are going to be affecting you. Now, it might be 3 degrees off, 4 degrees off. You might pick up a 1/4 inch of rain instead of a 1/2 inch of rain. It is not going to be precise, but what this does is allow people to plan. The LRC, over 90% effective and correct when it comes to predicting where the storm systems are going to be. Now, there's little influences that will affect based on temperature during the winter months. I know there's going to be a storm system. Now, is it going to be rain or snow? And I look at that tiny influence with the Arctic oscillation. And if I see that there's a chance that some of that cold Canadian air can be pushed down into the Midwest, we're kind of thinking it could be in a frozen form. However, if it's tightly wound around the North Pole and there's no chance of any of that colder air filtering in, we know it's likely going to be rainfall and not winter precipitation. So there are small factors out there, but as a planner, I'm telling you that the LRC, they continue to fine tune it each year. It's a great planning tool if you're in the ag industry. I know several people follow the LRC, what weeks to plant, what weeks to be able to harvest in August. And it has really worked great over the last few years. Oh, you bet, Melissa, and it is. I mean, you know, I'm gonna throw a stat out there, and Gary will 100% back it up. So, Gary's 120-day forecasting is has proven over the last 3, 4 years, 5 years. He's been doing it for 40 years. Has proven almost 90% accurate on temperature profiles, rainfall. The 3-day forecast from the National Weather Service through that same time span has been 87% accurate. 3 days versus 120 days. So it is very innovative technology and modulation that he uses. And I encourage, I mean, if I wasn't so sure of it, I would not be putting out, hey, key dates for you guys to be looking for. And I've done that here over the last 3 years with the followers. And again, last year, 90% accurate on when West Central Missouri got our severe weather. And it's just fascinating. And so far, up here at the Weather Center, I have my list of dates and a check mark by every major storm system since Thanksgiving. And right now, we are at 100% with the LRC. So from our snow system back in January to our brutal cold Arctic outbreak and to our severe weather in March, we talked about back in December 7th, we talked about March having an early start to severe weather season with the dates that it actually happened. And that was December 7th. And then here a week and a half ago, we get 2 rounds of severe weather. So just remarkable. And again, it does open the door to people being skeptic. And I encourage you to follow the LRC and see how accurate it really is. But it's great in the ag field, great if you're a planner. Yeah, Gary's always gone deep, and you know sometimes, you know my dad is a prime example when he listens to Gary, and Gary gets going. I mean, really going. Sometimes Gary gets so in depth. Sometimes it's kind of hard to follow. So that's one thing that I've tried to improve on over the last 4 or 5 years. Is I don't want to call it dumbing it down. It's not dumbing it down at all, but trying to put things in wording where people can grasp the model and grasp the concept of what we do with Weather 2020 and the LRC. And again, whenever there's severe weather around our area, and I go live watching these storm systems coming through, keeping you guys aware of any warnings and watches, I don't get technical. And, you know, I'll say, hey, you better bat down the hatches because it's going to be raining cats and dogs. We all know what that terminology is. Now, if you hear a meteorologist sit there and start talking about wind gusts possibly damaging coming out of the south at 45 to 75 miles per hour, and you need to take cover your heads. The end of the world is happening. I mean, all that does is just kind of bring up everybody's anxiety. That fear mongering. You go through social media ahead of a severe outbreak, and it's like Armageddon coming. And we don't do that here. I mean, we're going to let you guys know there is a chance for severe weather. Continue your daily activities, and I will keep you updated with any severe weather watches, warnings, and we'll go through it together. And for some reason, having somebody to be with you going through severe storms really lessens a lot of people's anxiety, and we try to keep everybody safe. Oh yeah, it's been my lifelong dream to do what I'm doing, TJ, since I was 6, 7 years old, and my mother passed away here a couple of weeks ago, and she had kept my little trapper keeper back in grade school when I used to write down the weather forecast each and every day. When I'm in second, third, fourth, fifth grade, and it's always been a lifelong passion of mine. And just the last few years, I'm able to do exactly what I wanted to do in life, and surrounded by weather. That's what I do every day. I do that for 10, 12 hours a day. All I do is the weather. It is very, very exciting, and I'm very blessed and happy to be able to share it with you guys as well. April 2nd? Well, so we do know that we do have a chance to be in a cool down period right after the first of April. Being here, Cassie, since we have the global predictor, let's just zoom in. I'm here in Clinton, and let's go to April 2nd. And it looks like we're going to be average to slightly above average temperature there on the 2nd of April. That big cool down comes in right around the 8th or 9th of April. However, we do expect a couple, 3 storm systems to be moving through at that time. If you take a look at the precipitation, the 1st, 2nd, and the 4th, we can expect some rainfall, some thunderstorms from a rather large storm coming in. That's that's in our dates to watch for. So definitely keep a good eye on the forecast as you get closer to that. Maybe by the end of next week, we'll have a really good, solid idea of what you can expect for that time period. All right, guys. So that is, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. We've been on here a little over an hour. And again, if anybody has any questions, and Melissa, thank you for your comment. That was a great way for us to kind of explain what the LRC does. There's not one model out there that can ever be 100% accurate. There's just no way. And a great explanation of this is, to start my severe weather seminar off, I had a big clear jar. It was like a 1.5, 2-gallon jar, and I had a bowl in the bottom of it. And I invited a young man to come up, and I wanted him to see if he could drop a quarter without touching the water and drop it and have it go into that cup. Now, he got very lucky. He got 75%. He made 3 out of 4 quarters into that cup. But if you can imagine what happens when you drop that quarter, and that quarter floats and turns all the way down as it hits the water and then lands in a cup or out of the cup. Well, that's exactly our atmosphere. Our atmosphere is like a river of air above us, and it acts just like water. That quarter is a storm system. So us as forecasters, we have to sit there and figure out what that quarter is going to do, and we try to make it go into that cup every single time, but it's impossible because Mother Nature throws too many curveballs out there. So we try to be as accurate as we can, and the LRC is a great way for long-range forecasting. Hey, you bet, guys. Thank you, TJ. And everybody have a great night. Of course, I'll be back here at the Weather Center bright and early tomorrow morning with your forecast on the radio, as well as we will have a forecast for the week coming up for you first thing tomorrow morning. Everybody have a great evening. We'll be talking.